welcome to this edition of Way Big News with your host, Shampoo VTA, Kelly Davis. And this is Friday. Happy Friday, July 17th. I had to look at it. And I re-upped yesterday, but not with marijuana. No. I went to Canamed. And I got my new card. With the embossing right here. I don't know if you can see the embossing right there, okay? But anyway, that proves that you're a medical marijuana patient in California, basically. Some localities require you, I guess, to have an actual card, but here all you have to do is have the paper. So went over to Canamed and misunderstood the doctor. Okay, so what he meant was that I am not supposed to come in with like proof that I have asthma. What I have to come in with is some sort of documentation I've seen a doctor within the last 2 years. I'm like, oh, I did not understand that. That I'm always going to have asthma, but I have to be continually going to a regular doctor. I'm like, oh, okay. No, I am going to a doctor, just Obamacare. You had to sign up for Obamacare. You had to wait to be approved. Then when you were approved, eventually you had to go, okay, now we have to spend some money. So we went to go see the dentist first and got hit with that bill. And then now it's time to go see the doctor. But I won't be able to do that until August. So then I'll be able to give him my new documentation and all this kind of stuff. Because I have to do some other stuff. I have to do a pap smear. I've never done pap smear that was like around this age. It was always kind of like in my 20s or something where it's just part of the procedure. Who cares? And I don't enjoy it. They use salad tongs on you and stuff. But like this time when I go in, now I'm going to be 50 in November, it becomes more of a, things could be happening, kind of thing. So kind of makes me a little nervous to do all this kind of old female stuff I'm supposed to go do, but I can't be irresponsible. I have to go in and have this stuff done. So okay, so I went and got that taken care of, and then yesterday I met Ray's challenge. So Ray C 1962 challenged me to a stop, drop, and glob, and I met that challenge with style. Using this Moxie Blueberry Shatter. Now, they say shatter, but I think more they're thinking butter. Comes in this very nice little container. Isn't that neat? With labeling and advertising and all this kind of stuff. And then like a little sticky, icky thing here that, makes the little package stick to it. And I don't know if I would say this is shatter. I think this is more like butter. Is anybody home? Check out the butter. So I'll link to that video to show you my challenge. And I did it with, I made it into a sticker. I did it with this bong that we created yesterday out of this is a $1 drinking party glass that you get like at the dollar store that usually comes with a big long straw. You find it in the party section. And I cut the bottom off and put the part that had the threading into the pineapple. I hollowed out the pineapple and then put a stem, right, from this bong. This down stem into the pineapple. And then the mouthpiece coming out the other end, and I did my dab challenge with that. And that was actually really fun. And I actually thought that would be a lot harder than it was. I kind of enjoyed the big dab. I was like, oh, I'll have another one. That's cool. I figured it would be like, oh, wow, too much or something like that. No, that was actually quite nice, especially with this stuff. This was great. I like the Moxie. Okay. So, I met Ray's challenge, and I'll put that video up so you can see it. And I challenged a couple other people, but mostly the person I challenged is Weed Porn Daily, who has now arrived in California and now has access to dabs. So, as soon as he gets his tolerance up, let's see you stop, drop, and glob. Weed Porn Daily. Okay. So I got some Master Kush. Get that. Not my nasty fingers in here. I got this Master Kush yesterday along with my Moxie. Why won't you focus, you turkey? There you go. There it is. Very nice, stinky bud. Right? And this is the Vanilla Kush that I've been smoking off of. And honestly, I couldn't tell a difference on sight between the two buds. But smell, definitely. The Vanilla Kush definitely smells like sweeter. Almost a sweet, like chemically smell. And the Master Kush definitely smells more like an indica, like a stinky indica. It was just interesting comparing the buds. I was like, ooh, let's compare and contrast. Okay, so we're gonna load some of this. I already started this video once, but then I got the beeping again. Beep, beep. I'm not getting power. Beep, beep. Yes, you are. You're plugged in. Maybe my battery's going bad. The whole computer is haunted. My husband does not like it when I get PO'd at the computer in the morning. I am not a pleasant person to be around. I don't call myself the dragon for no stupid reason. My heritage is Scottish. Anger is one of our powers. In Dungeons and Dragons, my character would have been called a berserker. When I'm backed into a corner is when you're really gonna get a fight. That's when it's all, no more rules, no homes barred. Kelly goes nuts, becomes a wild cat. Okay. Then I was gonna take this butter and put it on top, which I did once already, and I'll have to confess, I don't mind doing this again. I don't know, I can't get it up there for a melt shot. Let's see what I can do. I'm gonna spend. Oh, this is tragic. This could end up tragic. This balancing act I'm doing. This could end up tragic. And then Kelly burned her hand. Come on. Come on, little one. Let go. Come on, sweetheart. There you go, sweetie. That's a good little boy. There you go. This smells good too. I would say definitely more of the butter than the shatter. Put that right there. Oop, I'm a little off target, but like Chicken Daily says, I ain't fucking with it any more than that. I'm a little off target. We're gonna have to hit from that corner, eh? The best part of waking up, marijuana in your bowl. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that was nice. So, news. To all Americans and ships at sea, this is the news. All right. Ba, 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 ba. Wait, okay, put a new background up. Reform California. That was a good hit. Alrighty. Google's self-driving car slammed into from behind. Minor injury reported. So as you may have remembered me, I've reported, or may have heard, Google is testing their self-driving cars this summer. I think there also may be some semis that they want to test, not Google, but this other company wants to test on highways, interstate highways, that's self-driving too. But this is about the Google self-driving cars that are being tested, I believe, in California. Google's self-driving car project has become the victim of yet another rear-end accident. And like the other collisions, Google says it wasn't at fault. But unlike the others, there were minor injuries. According to the blog post by Chris Ohmsen, director of Google's driverless car program, one of Google's autonomous test vehicles, a Lexus SUV outfitted with self-driving technology, had slowed to a stop at a green light at an intersection in Mountain View, California, where the traffic had backed up in the right lane. Another car, coming up from behind, failed to brake at all, striking the rear of the Google car at 17 miles per hour and advancing sales into the future. I mean, really, is that the biggest sales pitch you've ever heard in your life? It wasn't my fault. It was the human idiot behind me. Okay. Another car, coming up from behind, failed to brake at all, with a human driving, striking the rear of the Google car at 17 miles an hour. You can see a bird's eye view of how the accident took place in this video showing the system map of objects around it. So this, not only will it not be these cars' fault that you're an idiot and you hit the car, it will have all kinds of proof and video and computer technology to show that you're an idiot. And I have a feeling if these like cases went to court, it could really create a lot of data that would tell people that you need to stop driving because you're just not good at it. I know you think you're good at it, but you're going to be shocked how not good at it you are. Of course, there are much more sensors on the car that see the world in much greater detail, but this wireframe recreation gets the gist across. The other driver was probably distracted because, yeah, we're humans. Exactly, right? So there's this great video that I'm sure is a sort of precursor to things that are going to show up in courtrooms when accidents with these vehicles happen, because they're going to be able to have all kinds of data that you're not going to have in your car. What are you going to go up there with the whiteboard and draw pictures? This is how it happened, everyone. You don't have a positronic brain. You can't do this kind of thing that Data would be able to do from Star Trek. Oh, this is kind of funny. Thankfully, everyone in both vehicles was okay, except for a bit of minor whiplash and a few scrapes on the bumper. The other vehicle wasn't so lucky. Its entire front bumper fell off. Umsen wrote, California requires a human to be behind the wheel of a self-driving car being tested on public roads. The Associated Press reported there were also 2 passengers in the Google car, and there were and, and all 3 were checked out at a hospital and cleared to go back to work following the July 1st collision. The driver of the other car also complained of a neck and back pain, according to AP. Google did not immediately respond to the request from NBC News for more details. Google said its self-driving cars have been involved in 14 previous minor accidents in 6 years of testing, but this is the first time that an injury has ever been reported. None of the accidents has been the system's fault, Google says, and most of them were rear ends like this one. Yep, I had a friend who was killed in a rear end accident in like 1979. She was bragging all at the end of school about how she was going to go to Las Vegas. And that was back when they used to allow people to ride in the back of trucks. She was in the back of her grandparents' truck, and they were rear-ended by a motorhome, and the truck flipped over on top of her and killed her instantly. Self-driving cars, I think, is going to be a really nice thing. Report says adults and children should eat 50% less sugar. I know, stoners, it's hard to hear this. But sugar is more dangerous than marijuana.
What people should aspire to eat and drink.
Okay. Thank you. This is BBC. Scientists are expected to recommend that adults and children in the UK have the amount of added sugar they eat and drink in major, half. So cut it in half. Half the amount that they eat and drink in major reports to be published later. The Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition will say only 5% of daily calories should come from what are known as free sugars, which include sugars found naturally in honey and fruit juice. That's the equivalent of 7 teaspoons a day for adults. Okay, so nutrition will say only 5% of daily calories should come from what is known as free sugars, which include sugars found in naturally in honey and fruit juice. So like oranges and stuff like that. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, the other thing I know is that most of the stuff that you go to the store and buy, if you look at the packaging, it's going to have some kind of sugar in it. You know, even I think salsa and stuff has a little bit of sugar in it. So, interesting report. Hard for stoners to hear, but you need to cut back on sugar because I'm not sure that marijuana is going to save you from that. Reddit. Ooh. So many things happening on Reddit, and I was talking to my son and Sean about this, and I said, often when a group shows some sort of forceful ability to upset the leadership, then people in charge will send in someone to rein in, that sort of crowd. And I've seen that happen in the work environment when employees would go after a boss that was a problem and get the boss removed. The company would bring in somebody to rein in the employees. It's like for every reaction, there is an opposite and equal reaction. Reddit, out to tame its wild side. San Francisco. Popular online bulletin board Reddit is mulling ways to make its free-for-all discussion more civil by restraining what people can post, a move that could anger some in the site's most passionate members. Steve Spez Hoffman, co-founder of the website self-titled The Front Page of the Internet, used an Ask Me Anything AMA session on the site Thursday to let fans know that curbs could be coming. Neither Alexis nor I created Reddit to be a bastion of free speech, but rather a place where open and honest discussion can happen. What? Okay, isn't that an oxymoron to say that a bastion of free speech is not a place where open discussion? What? Let me read that again because that didn't make any sense. Nor I created Reddit to be a bastion of free speech, but rather a place where open and honest discussion can happen. Isn't that what free speech is? That was a very confusing sentence, sir. We as a community need to decide together what our values are. Reddit is a for-profit business operated as a subsidiary of Advanced Publications. Its forums are moderated by volunteers who tend to be passionate about the bulletin boards being an online venue for saying whatever users want, no matter how inane, outrageous, or offensive. Yeah. Reddit is a for-profit business operating as a subsidiary of Advanced. Okay, I read that. As Reddit has grown, we've seen additional examples of how unfettered speech can make Redditors a less enjoyable place to visit, and can even cause harm outside of Reddit. Hoffman said in a message opening his AMA. So what, daddy's gonna come in, a parent, and tell people what to do? Why not just, people are learning from these experiences, why not allow that learning to continue or facilitate it? Why come in like Big Brother and tell everybody what to do? Just because you're a corporation doesn't make you stupid, does it? The talk of restrictions comes in the wake of the departure of Ellen Poe, who headed the company until disgruntled users called for her departure. A number of people on the site posted sexist and inflammatory comments about Poe, a revenge porn ban. He noted that earlier this year, Reddit banned non-consensual pornography referred to as revenge porn. That's not free speech. Okay? This is all well and good. I'm not hearing anything's working for you right now. Not safe for work. Pornography and content that offends the senses of decency will be sanctioned off in a previously established not safe for work zone that Reddit users will be able to opt into at their discretion. Basically, Reddit got a huge number of users it now wants to monetize by using free speech as an excuse to let every user run wild and post the most inflammatory, disgusting, borderline illegal stuff imaginable. A user with a screen name, something or other, commented on AMA forums. Now that they have that big user base, they want to monetize it, which means that they have to clean it up to make, yes, very good, investors happy, which is making the users scream bloody murder because that's not Reddit. They know and love. That's exactly right. You're about to butt rape your own company. Did you not learn from Dig? Did you not watch what happened to Dig? I remember when Dig used to matter. You know, why butt rape your own company? Okay, so that's a very interesting article about Dig, and I had a feeling that they would have a reaction to their user base that way because their user base is their content. Without their user base, there's no Reddit. So now they're trying to, muscle their user base around like you guys are using inflammatory language. And no, you got your butt kicked and you're not happy about it. And now you're going to react to that. Cry me a river. This happens a lot in politics. You'd be surprised. You just fell in the ground. Oh, no, tragedy. And that's when tragedy ensued. Space Junk, Collision. These are not exactly stoner stories, but they're good Friday hangout stories, and I do have some stoner stories, don't worry. I did not report on the IO pass by because that was well reported. I did not see a lot of reporting on this. Space Junk Collision scares forced ISIS crew into evacuate. So I guess what happened was that a piece of an old Russian satellite came hurtling towards them, and the team didn't have enough time to move the station out of the way, or they couldn't, separate the saucer section. Since they had Star Trek fans, since they only had an hour and a half to spare, the crew chose to seal off modules to contain possible damage and to lock themselves inside the Soyuz spacecraft. That way, they could abandon the ISS if needed, and wouldn't have to desperately scour the near-Earth environment for ways to come back home. That was the fourth time in the station's history that its crew had to move to the Soyuz for safety. ISS personnel typically get warned much earlier about debris coming their way. What with various organizations tracking space junk movements from Earth, the early warnings allow the crew to maneuver the station in case a big one's flying too close for comfort. The ISS is tough enough to withstand the impact of smaller rubble. Thankfully, the old satellite ended up flying by the station yesterday without damaging billions of dollars worth of equipment, and the astronauts were permitted to go back to their living quarters. That is one fucking scary way to live right there. We need a way to deal with space junk because we're not going to be able to have these low orbit objects hanging out if there's a bunch of debris. If there's a debris field, we're going to have to cross in order to get to space. That's not good. Space debris remains one of the biggest threats to the ISS. Other satellites and spacecraft, as more and more space junk accumulates, the more dangerous the situation in near-Earth orbit becomes. Scientists have proposed a number of different solutions to the issue, including blasting debris with lasers or a harpoon and cleaning them up using a Pac-Man-like spacecraft. I was also thinking, why not just like a magnet, like somehow catch them, attract them to you, and then fucking drive them out somewhere. Some kind of magnet. Very scary. Scary way to live. Good luck to the ISS crew. Gosh, I don't want to see that movie. Oh. Read this story already. This is a different version of it. Okay. This is the nicest marijuana shop that you'll see in Colorado. The shares on this is going up very quickly because it's well made. It's slick. It's very nice. This marijuana dispensary in Colorado is the nicest pot shop you'll ever see. Okay, with a beautiful video, which I highly recommend that you check out. Silverpeak Apothecary is Colorado's nicest marijuana dispensary, with an atmosphere that is more like a Wholefoods than a shady pot shop. It's no wonder that this Aspen hotspot is a favorite among tourists looking to partake in the state's legal marijuana market. Not everyone is comfortable when they first come in, because it's something that has been taboo for so long, says Silverpeak co-owner Mike Woods. But what we found is that this type of environment works for everyone. Check out the video above to see more of Silverpeak's Apothecary dispensary, and make sure to subscribe to the water cooler on YouTube for more. Oh, really interesting. So yeah, they have a great video. I was checking it out. It's worth watching, that's for sure. Interesting. Makes you want to go. Makes you go. That's the dream right there. To be able to be respected like that. Okay. So I did my new background, and this is what it's about. Because the leading marijuana legalization in California, leading group moves to place initiative on 2016 ballot. So the leading group in California is preparing its political move. Sacramento. Proponents of the proposed ballot measure aim to make California the fifth state to legalize pot for recreational use are a few weeks away from kicking off their November 2016 campaign, supporters said Thursday. Once the marijuana legalization coalition, known as Reform California, files its initiative with the state attorney general's office, the group can begin gathering the 3,605 valid signatures. That's right. It would need 365,000, thank you, valid signatures it would need to put a proposition on the ballot, something coalition chairwoman Dale Sky Jones says she's confident it can do. 4 other initiatives with the same goal have already been cleared for circulation, but this is the one that's expected to attract top donors and major interest from a huge network of grassroots supporters. We have been working on the plan to make a strong run at the ballot box. Strong run, we're going to tackle it to the ground. Said Sky Jones, the executive director of Amsterdam University, the country's first college devoted to instruction about cannabis. During a conference call with reporters, Sky Jones said she thinks it will take up to $14 million to run a successful campaign, but she released few details about who the top donors might be or what the initiative will look like. Other than to say that it seeks to control, tax, and regulate recreational marijuana. The initiative would also write rules for California's decade-old medical marijuana industry, she said. California is long overdue, she said, adding that Colorado and Washington State have had few problems since voters passed similar laws in 2012. Voters in Alaska, Oregon, and the District of Columbia legalized recreational pot use in November. California voters rejected marijuana legalization in November 2010. But a recent Public Policy Institute of California poll showed that attitudes on the issue have shifted, with 55% of likely voters now supporting legalization. But as public support for the weed grows, so does concern about underage use. The National Institute of Drug Abuse 2014 annual survey found that 34% of 10th graders and 44% of 12th graders had used marijuana. But that's a compelling case for legalization and regulation, argues Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democratic candidate for governor in 2018 of California, and chairman of the American Civil Liberties Union Task Force on Marijuana Legalization. The group is expected to release a report with recommendations as soon as next month. The campaign's success will hinge in part on tapping into Californians' passion for pot legalization, and that's why Reform California hires Joe Trippi, a veteran political consultant who became a household name a decade ago when he ran former Vermont Governor Howard Dean's presidential campaign. On Thursday's conference call with reporters, Trippi said the group has already amassed an email list of 70,000 supporters without spending a dime on advertising. Too often, people wait too long to build their digital army, said Trippi, referring to the list of supporters he plans to solicit for small donations. Our legalization effort will be a wealth thought-out, disciplined campaign. Staff writer Josh Richardman contributed to this report. Contact Jessica something or other. Follow at Twitter and on Califati something.com Califati. So, boy, yes. So, the initiative that we look to support is going to be this Reform California, it looks like. And Gavin Newsom is going to be running for governor of the state after we get rid of Jerry Brown. And he's been running this task force and doing town hall meetings all over California discussing how legalization would impact their community, what their concerns are, how they should craft the law. Well thought out, like grown-up stuff that Washington, D.C. should be doing, and they're not. Okay. Take another hit. That was having me happen. The cannabis. Saw some kind of an image yesterday from someplace like where you could have coffee and bong toast, like a coffee shop where they had bongs, and I was all, oh, that would be so cool. Oh my gosh, I would be so like, let's go there. OBKB. Denver ABC affiliate to run pot ad before Jimmy Kimmel. In this, the first time a pot product has been advertised on TV. Is this the first time? Denver ABC affiliate KMGH will run its first advertisement for a legal marijuana company in the next week. The station confirms to the Cannabist on Thursday. The station's vice president said it will follow the state's strict cannabis advertising laws. KMGH has agreed to accept ads from legal cannabis businesses, said Brad Remington, the station's vice president and general manager. The first of these TV ads will probably air within the next week. We have set some strict guidelines on when these ads can run and the content of the ad. Ads for recreational use, for example, cannot air until after 10 p.m. and cannot show people using the product. Well, you also can't show people having sex if they're doing a call line either, or masturbating or whatever, so that's smart. We will also accept ads from legal businesses on the Denver channel with restrictions. One of the station's first pot ads will promote Neos, a company that extracts cannabis oil and sells oil-loaded vape pens in Colorado and Southern California. Neos. So what changed after ABC affiliate mind? What changed the ABC affiliate's mind on pot ads? The world is changing, evolving, and we need to constantly take a look at things, said KMGHS Remington. After careful deliberation, we have elected to accept money ads from what is now a legal business in Colorado and apply some of the same restrictions and standards that we do for similar money ads. Products like hard liquor, money. We carefully deliberated and we decided to accept the money. That is funny. The ad will air at 10:35 p.m. on July 20th after the news and before Jimmy Kimmel Live, according to Canna Brand, the marijuana-focused marketing company representing Neos. So I'm looking forward to any of you stoners staying up on July 20th till 10:35 and just before Jimmy Kimmel, record that sucker and let's see what it looks like. Put it on YouTube somewhere so we can see what it's going to look like. Interesting story. No, I don't think this is a first ad because I've heard other places. They wanted to run an ad before the Super Bowl, but of course the Super Bowl's alcohol. Chile marijuana legalization moves forward. I saw Russ Belville posted this on Twitter, so I'm reposting it for others to see. While 4 U.S. states and the District of Columbia have begun treating marijuana as a legal commercial and personal crop, other nations in the Western Hemisphere are feeling the pull towards marijuana law reform. The South American country of Uruguay led the way with its legalization plan, followed by Jamaica's plan to decriminalize marijuana use and cultivation. Now, the West Coast country of Chile, which has the greatest marijuana use rate in South America, has embarked on a path towards marijuana legalization for adults. Chile's lower house last week voted 68 to 39 in favor of a law that relaxes the country's marijuana laws, some of the most severe on the continent. Currently, cultivating, selling, and trafficking marijuana is punishable by up to 15 years in prison. Under the approved law, adult Chileans will be able to cultivate 6 cannabis plants and possess in public up to 10 grams of usable marijuana. The law isn't settled yet. It still needs to go through the Chilean Health Commission for approval. If successful, it will then be voted on by the Chilean Senate. If passed, leftist President Michael Bachelet is expected to sign it into law. I gave it a shot. Chile has already begun a government-approved test pilot of cannabis grown in the region to investigate the potential for treating cancer with cannabis. Okay. However, the proposed law will allow for the use of cannabis for medicinal, recreational, and spiritual purposes. Chilean communist politician Carol Carali, Communist Party, was ecstatic about the future of marijuana in Chile. Well, that's tricky. Telling Reuters it is a historic day for medicinal users who wish to stop being persecuted and be able to access a medicine that they can grow in their gardens. But some politicians ask the same question prohibitionists in America often ask: what about the children? There are fears among some that legalization will lead to a rise in the use by youths, even though the opposite trend has been seen in the U.S. states of Colorado and Washington. You know, it's a typical fear. Fear, fear, fear. Everything is fear. But like, yay for Chile! No, not that chili. Chili! That chili looks really good too. Both chilies look good. Man arrested. Okay, this is local, so try to concentrate on the macro, the macro, right? The macro, the big, and the small, and the micro. So this is the micro. This is my locality here in Ventura. I'm reporting some marijuana news after I grind this. And it's good news for all of us stoners, in my opinion, because the less of this going on, the better for everybody. Burrito crashed on the ground. Deep. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if we can see that. Oh, nope, that's way off. And turn. There you go. Gotta put this thing back up so I can see what's going on. Okay. This is our local mountains here in Ventura County. Man arrested after marijuana found in Los Padres National Forest. Los Padres is our local national forest. I've done many hikes. You can see my videos on my channel. Ojai, California. A man was arrested Thursday after authorities found an illegal marijuana garden in the Los Padres National Forest, officials said. Ventura County Sheriff's narcotics officials spotted the plants from a helicopter and were able to eradicate the grow with help from the U.S. Forest Service. Abiel Toledo, 33, was arrested on suspicion of cultivation of marijuana, said Sheriff's Captain John Riley. Officials suspect there were more people involved in the cultivation. A campsite was discovered near the marijuana plants in the forest backcountry above Ojai. In addition, water was diverted from a nearby natural stream to cultivate the plants, authorities said. About 3,000 marijuana plants were destroyed, Riley said. He estimates the marijuana had a wholesale value of $2.5 million and a street value of $6 million. Officials from the Ventura County District Attorney's Office, the Oxnard Police Department, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife participated in the operation. No, we don't want this. We don't want you guys or anybody going up in the hills and diverting streams in California where we're having a drought from sensitive ecological areas to grow your, shitty fucking chemical weed, which is probably shitty. It's not going to be organic, is it, if you're hiding it up in the woods? So a big F you. I don't want to buy that crap, especially at a dispensary. Yo. Yo. Better not show up at none of these dispensaries, because I'd be pissed. They're going to put a testing lab in Ojai. And that way we can test away morons like this. Because if you're willing to hike up into the woods and destroy sensitive ecological areas, then you're not going to be growing something that a patient should be smoking, in my opinion. You're probably not doing it right in the first place. Screw you. Get the hell out of here. Joint relief. Marijuana helps mend broken bones. Now, this is a report from Tel Aviv. University scientists find cannabis speeds healing of fractures may be used to treat bones-related diseases. Okay, now I don't know how, reliable this report is. I just thought it was interesting. And I did look through all the sources, and the one that I found that is actually from Israel where the study was done. So I will take a hit and we will read. Oopsies. Hulk smash! Hulk smash! Alrighty. Break a bone. Your doctor may soon provide you with an unexpected prescription, marijuana. Researchers at Tel Aviv University have discovered that a component of marijuana significantly helps heal bone fractures, university officials announced Thursday. The study, published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research, found that the non-psychotropic cannabinoid CBD considerably sped up the healing process of rats' broken leg bones. Those benefits were also present even when the molecule was separated from THC, the major psychoactive component of cannabis. Dr. Yankel Gebbet, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, of Tel Aviv Bone Research Laboratory, and the late Professor Ida Bob of Hebrew University's Bone Laboratory discovered the connection between our body's cannabinoid receptors and the stimulation of bone growth, which may be used for future research into the use of marijuana to treat not only broken bones but also osteoporosis and other skeletal diseases, one of which I will be suffering from because I'm going through menopause. And that means that women do not absorb calcium as well and their bones begin to deteriorate. So, smoking pot could be helping me with my bone structure. Oh, did I pwn reality or what by choosing to be a pot smoker? Wow. Dr. Yankel, oh, researcher lab, I read that. Okay. Um, the the clinical potential for cannabinoid related compounds is simply undeniable at this point, Gabbett said. While there is still a lot of work to be done to develop appropriate therapies, it is clear that it is possible to detach a clinical therapy objective from the psychoactive and cannabis CBD. The principal agent in our study is primarily the anti-inflammatory and has no psychoactivity. Isn't that like amazing? So I'll post this story. I don't know how reliable it is, but it sure sounds like really amazing. Wouldn't it be great? And I'm never gonna doubt any of these stories because I doubted the first few. Yeah, sure, it's yeah, right, but smoke. Smoke is not good. Yeah, I said all that stuff, and then I was like, oh my god, no ways. Holy shit, did they lie to us? I knew something was wrong, but I had no idea it was this bad. Marijuana in Alaska has long been legal. Now the state is struggling to regulate it. Alaskan native Alaskan leaf owl knew how to hunt, fish, trap, and grow organically by the time he was 8. In the family greenhouse, marijuana plants grew among the tomatoes, cucumbers, and garden flowers. On the Yukon, when I was a kid, it was as normal as anything else. He recalled, I probably was pretty old before I realized that it was a little bit of a social taboo. Last November, Alaska legalized recreational marijuana use. The voters' initiative passed 53% to 47%, but it was hardly unforeseen to people like Abel living in the state's interior. Long ingrained in their culture, Alaskans have been growing and using marijuana in their homes for decades. Nearly 40 years ago, the Alaskan Supreme Court ruled that an adult's right to use and possess a small amount of marijuana at home for personal use was protected under the Alaskan constitutional right to privacy. But now, the state's unique relationship to cannabis also poses unique challenges to legalization. Alaska has struggled to roll out its regulation that pleases its conservative majority, while at the same time staying true to the initiative intentions. Just one cannabis-related bill, which created the Marijuana Control Board (MCB), passed in this year's legislative session. We are struggling, said Cynthia Franklin, director of the board, former prosecutor. I've tried a death penalty, capital murder, and this is harder than that. Senate Bill 30, arguably the most important piece of legislation on the table dealing with the legalization of cannabis, never was approved. Without it there are no clear guidelines on what is legal or what is not, leaving law enforcement officials not knowing what to do. The tendency is not to enforce any of the laws, said Deputy Chief Brad Johnson of the Fairbanks Police Department. Many questions remain unanswered. Regulations for the new cannabis market include laws on licensing and zoning are unresolved. Governor Bill Walker named 5 members of the MCD on July 1st. The board has until November to draft and adopt statewide regulations pertaining to the cultivation and manufacture and sale of cannabis. For now, it's a time of uncertainty for Alaska. Hmm, bummer. So they're still struggling with trying to get this thing off the ground in Alaska, of course, because they have a very conservative base. It's what about the children freaking out? What about the roads? You're more dangerous on the road than marijuana is. According to Google's self-driving car, you're more dangerous on the road than marijuana. John Hickenlooper wouldn't reverse Amendment 64 vote today. 2 hours ago. Break out the Cheetos and goldfish. When Amendment 64 passed in November 2012, Governor John Hickenlooper reminded Coloradans that federal law still says marijuana is an illegal drug, so don't break out the Cheetos and goldfish too quickly. But then, it may be time to pass out the snack bowl, because while Hickenlooper admitted that if he'd had a magic wand, he would have reversed the results of the 64 vote, he adds, I don't think I'd reverse it now. Colorado governor was one of the featured speakers on last night's Legalization, the next phase in the war on drugs. The final symposium in the Communities Now series at the 2015 Biennial of the Americas. Biennial? I don't know. Of the Americas. Tina Brown moderated a panel that, in addition to Hickenlooper, featured Rico Lago, president of Chile from 2000 to 2006, and director of Fundition Democracy. Oh, I'm not going to be able to say that. And Dr. Nora Volker. Really, Volker is the one that runs that marijuana farm that's like in Virginia that wasn't actually growing marijuana. Is the only one that is allowed to grow marijuana for testing for the federal government. Well, how is she ever going to be able to grow all these fucking different strains of marijuana that everybody's smoking and test them? Get out of here with your joke. And even she's beginning to see that this is bullshit, because I think that deep down inside there might be a real scientist down there. Not just a political flunky. Okay. And Dr. Nora Volker, director of the National Institute of Drug Abuse, and the evening at Ellie Calkin Theater kicked off with opening remarks from Kevin Sabat, co-founder with Patrick Kennedy of Smart Approach to Marijuana, and Ethan Needleman, executive director of the Drug Policy Alliance. Smart Approach to Marijuana, Sam. Boo! Nothing smart about them. Needlemeyer marveled at how quickly Americans have changed their stance on issues ranging from gay rights to legalization. A new generation will look back on the marijuana wars like prohibition, he said, and ask, no, you really aren't getting what's happening here, are you? And said, what the hell was that about? No, they're not. You're not getting what's happening here. And Colorado led the way. What you guys did was a historic, significant, and not just for Colorado. He told the audience. No, what's really happening here is what I've been saying the whole time. This is accelerated and disruptive change. This is what this is. It's not that, oh, lo and behold, Americans have changed their minds about marijuana. No, the truth came out. You couldn't stop the internet. It was the ability to go out and tell the truth unfettered by bullshit newscasters talking over top of you and talking heads talking about the culture war and terrifying people, and open what Reddit is trying to fight, which is free speech, allowed this to happen, and that's accelerating change, and it's a disruptive change because it's never happened before, and it's not just here. It's look at the ours. Look at everything around you. It's like kind of getting weird. What are people going to do in the future if everything's automated? Nobody's like asking these really big questions about where are we going. You know, they're all like, wow, look, everybody's like into gay marriage now, and they just totally accept marijuana. What happened? I don't know. What's going on? It isn't this magical thing where people suddenly saw the light. No, they were able to access information and think for themselves, and they were allowed to make their own decisions instead of having a television for 8 to 10 hours blaring into your house information that you can never question or talk back to or talk to somebody else about, except in your own living room. It's like a banshee screaming from hell. Filled with advertisements. Viva la internet. Viva la internet. Viva la social media. They don't get it. No, sweetheart, you're being swept up in a great storm that is much bigger than just you, just this issue. Brown, who said she didn't visit a local pot shop because she had to moderate the panel, started out the panel by asking Hickenlooper about Colorado's bold social experiment. I tried to slow it down, he admitted. When other governors asked, I'm very blunt, the jury's still out. But Hickenlooper's administration hasn't been waiting around for the verdict. Under Andrew Friedman, director of marijuana coordination for the state, whom Hickenlooper touted from the stage, the administration has been researching legal issues, the effect on kids, mental health issues, regulatory reform, and otherwise moving forward with an industry that's already brought the state almost $100 million in taxes. The governor noted. Brown asked Hickenlooper about the biggest surprise he'd found in the wake of legalization. The industry that's grown up has been responsible, he responded. Well, what the fuck was surprising about that, sir? There are a couple of bad actors, but they are very careful. And yes, right after the election, if he'd had a magic wand, I would have turned it around, Hickenlooper told Brown. I don't think I'd reverse it now. But that doesn't mean everything is ideal in Denver. The sun's starting to come out, so it reflects on my computer, my thing, because marijuana is still illegal on a federal level. The ban on banking stymies what's become a $1 billion cash business in Colorado, and there's a lid on critical research that might help that jury reach a decision. And since the state had to come up with its regulations regarding marijuana so quickly, the rules could use some tweaks. But then, with Colorado laws in general, Hickenlooper noted, there are a lot of things I'd like to do. Break out the goldfish. Oh, that was my last story. That was really cool. And it kind of tied in with the Chile story because the former Chilean president was there with Hickenlooper and was complimenting Colorado on how they had done the rollout of legal marijuana and said, you know, that it was successful and a great model, I guess, or something like this. I read the quotes on Twitter. Okay, I got marijuana little pieces on my table. This stuff. None shall escape. Alrighty, so it's Friday, stoners. We made it through another week, you and I. I did a challenge. I will post a link to that to show my Stop Drop and Glob challenge. I challenge week or daily. Come on out, man. I know that Freddie Pritchard challenged James Rowe, so I'm hoping that James Rowe is going to challenge Sound Drone, because Sound Drone, a big dab for him would probably be the size of a Buick. Big dab for me is like I learned something from Burt Reynolds. He did a movie about football, right, with Chris Christopherson. And the football players in the movie were all real football players. And they asked Chris Christopherson and Burt Reynolds. I've heard this story. Okay, I don't know if it's true. Have you ever played football? And Burt Reynolds went, no, I'm just an actor. When I was in theater, that was arts. That was my major. I was an art major. And Chris Christopherson's like, oh yeah, I played a little football in college. So when it came time to shoot the scene, the football players decided to lay out Chris Christopherson on the grass as hard as they could, and they took him off his stretcher. And Burt Reynolds was like, you should never, ever say to a professional football player. So I know better than to go, I can do great big dab. I'm not going to get laid out. Anyway, so you have a great Friday and a great weekend, stoners, and stay high and goodbye.